Good afternoon, you are joining us live from the Brno circuit. MotoGP is back with 10 rounds remaining, starting here in the Czech Republic and then finishing off with our classic season finale in Valencia. The second part of this season also sees our newest addition to the calendar. We'll be making our stop in Thailand in October. But before we even think about the Asian Big Four, we've got some very, very important races coming up over the next few weeks. I'm Amy Dargan. As always, I'm joined by Matt Burr, and I'm very happy to say that we've been joined by Stefan Bradl this weekend. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Nice summer break?
Yeah, I had a nice summer break. I was on the bike a couple of times, so I did some testing, which was important to be ready for this event.
Well, Stefan, we're going to talk to you more about what you're here to do this weekend, because you're not here just to make fun and talk jokes with us. You're actually here to do a job. You're here for Honda this weekend as their test rider. But Matt, first things first, obviously Marc Marquez, the first half of the season, he really, looked as though he had one hand already on the trophy. But it wasn't the only bit of news. There was so much that happened in this first part. Some break felt a bit quiet, actually, on the news front.
You're right, Amy. It's been a crazy opening half of the championship. Marc has been at his brilliant best, certainly over the last couple of races. He won that classic in Assen. He was so brilliant, as always, at the Sachsenring a couple of weeks ago. He's won the last two races from pole position. He's opened up a pretty comfortable 46-point lead now in the championship. He's tested here quite recently as well in Brno, as Stefan would know, so he's got a bit of a reference, some data, recent data of this circuit. But yeah, it's been a crazy opening half of the season, not only on the circuit but off the track as well, with so many big name rider moves, none more so of course, and the shock Jorge Lorenzo going to Repsol Honda to join Marc Marquez next year. So there's been so much for us to talk about in the first half of the season. Let's hope we get the same talking points in the final 10 races, because if we do, it's going to be pretty spectacular.
I'm sure we will. Stefan, whilst we've got you here, obviously we need to have your opinion on Jorge Lorenzo going to HRC next year. Will it be a good move in your opinion?
I think it is an interesting move. I didn't expect it as well. And yeah, I mean, he could adapt on the Ducati now. Finally, he won some races, so he did a brilliant job there. Obviously, a little bit too late. But anyway, it will be interesting to see him on the Repsol Honda, because the Honda is a different bike compared to Yamaha and compared to the Ducati as well. So we will see, and it's going to be interesting. I know, and we all know, that there is a big difference in riding style compared to Marquez and Lorenzo. So we'll see how he can do.
Well, the other big news in terms of Jorge Lorenzo the first part of the season wasn't just his move next year to HRC. He took his first win for Ducati, but he wasn't the only man to also take another win on a different manufacturer. Suzuki boys did a brilliant first half of the season, both got 2 podiums apiece. Yeah,
and Suzuki are in a real strong position that they're hoping that one more podium this year, they'll lose their concessions, which means they'll have the same rules that Yamaha, Ducati and Honda are on, which would delight them. They don't want the concessions, because if you lose them, it means you're being successful on the circuit. Alex Rins had a real strong first half of the year. There's been a couple of mistakes. He had a lot of bad luck, of course, caught up in that tangle with Pol Espargaro on the first lap in Germany. And we know what Andrea Iannone, on his day, Andrea can beat the very best. It just seems at the moment he can't get that consistency together, and we know that he struggles a little bit in hot conditions with the tyre wear. Certainly he's strong in qualifying. He can fire in that one hot lap, that explosive one lap pace. Andrea's got it, but he seems to struggle certainly with tyre life over the longer distance. And we know the forecast here for Brno this weekend, Stefan's going to have a lot of hard work to do this weekend, because it looks like temperature's going to be probably as high as the mid-30s every single day. So it's going to be a tough weekend for the boys out there this weekend.
And Stefan, what are your expectations this weekend? Because like Matt said, it's going to be a hot one. This is quite a demanding track, as we know. Where's your head at coming into this weekend? Because as you didn't really expect to find yourself, you were riding in Germany.
Yeah, that was a funny weekend for me. I jumped basically in the cold water, because I got the phone call and they said, you want to try? And I said, of course I want to try, because in front of my home fans, it's something very special. Obviously, I just took it as a practice, because there was nothing to lose for me in that situation. And yeah, so the couple of last weeks I've been riding quite a bit. So I'm looking forward to this race weekend, back to some racing. Testing is one thing, but racing is the other thing. So I try to bring our job now on track, and I'm really looking forward, even if it's hot, to do a good job here. And I'm certainly sure that we can do a good job.
Whilst we're still reflecting back on that first half, one thing I wanted to talk about with you, Stefan, because as we know now, you are doing a lot of work with Service TV as one of their pundits, and obviously you must be giving some great insight. But two races that really stood out to me from that first half. Firstly, Assen. No one's going to be forgetting that race in a hurry. What were your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, just unbelievable. It was so nice to watch and so exciting. So really interesting. I didn't expect, to be honest. I thought that Assen always is quite special and always tight with the very little gaps and so on. But this time it was like really something special.
It was a race that people are going to be talking about, not in 10 years' time, in 100 years' time. I mean, I think somebody worked it out. I don't know how on earth they worked it out, but there was 175 overtakes in the whole race. It was like a Moto3 race, not a MotoGP battle. It was a classic. It's why we love the sport so much.
We shouldn't speak so much about it. The people should watch it again.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best thing you can do right now is finish the press conference and re-watch Assen again. The other race I wanted to talk to you about, Matt, was Argentina, way back at the start of the season, but boy, did that offer us a bit of action. And also for us Brits, not that we're being biased, we left Argentina with a Brit leading the world standings. Well, that was pretty. You
had a season's worth of talking points in 1 week and 1 day, didn't you, in Argentina?
Yeah.
All the confusion on the grid. Jack Miller's amazing pole position lap in the mixed conditions where he was almost high-siding in every single corner. It was a lap from the gods by Jack. And then, of course, the controversy with Mark, charging through the field. He had the penalty. And then the collision, of course, with Valentina, which, thankfully, we've got to say, all that has kind of died down a little bit now. It seems to have settled. But yeah, it was an incredible talking. But yeah, and we have to sort of blow our own trumpet, don't we? Yeah, Cal Crutchlow, victory there, of course, for him. And 2 years ago, the first British winner in the Premier class for 35 years. So
fingers crossed.
We wish Stefan, of course, all the best this weekend. But
I just thought about when there was the last German winning in the Premier class. I don't even know.
Wow. Oh. Yeah, that's a long time ago.
Jonas Folger podium in Germany.
There is no winner from Germany. There is never.
So no
maybe
pressure on you this
back
week.
In the 70s or something.
Yeah, maybe in the 70s. Yeah, long time ago.
Well, we'll see what happens this weekend.
Exactly.
Stefan, obviously you've just said to us you're not just charged with having a bit of a race, having a MotoGP race out this weekend. You're there testing parts for Honda. Can you let us in on anything that you'll be trying out and for us to keep our eyes out for?
Well, not really.
No, I didn't think so.
No, you will see a very nice design tomorrow.
Oh.
It's beautiful. So that's also one thing. Normally we're riding around testing the new material and having just black designs. So that's a bit boring. But anyway, there is some parts that is already we are working on for the next season, of course. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense to do a wildcard race here. So no, but basically the bike is the very same as the other guys are using, and we'll see.
So, Stefan, it looks like this year certainly the Honda took a big step from 17 to this year. What can you say has been the key area that they did improve this year and moving forward to keep Mark on top of the championship? What are they looking for to improve for the 2019 season?
Well, basically, I think that Honda did a good job adapting the bike to the tires. That's what I think was the biggest step, and that's the key, in my opinion. As you also can see that somehow Mark is using the soft tire in for example, last race in Germany. This is something they really found a good step from last year to this year, and that's also some advantages that Ducati had last season, because somehow they can also run with the soft tires, and if you can keep the tires working for all the distance, that's the key.
Dani Pedrosa, obviously he announced his retirement, which was another big talking point to end our season on, but we so desperately want to see that man at least get one more victory in his pocket before he walks away and leaves us at the end of this year. But looking at some of the feedback he said after Germany and after the last couple of races, he's struggling at the moment to get the bike turned quickly on mid-corner and corner exit. What is your view on that? Can you understand where he's coming from?
Well, that's a difficult question. Dani, in my opinion, sometimes is a bit sensitive in some special tracks. If something is going well, he's very competitive and very fast. But what is exactly the last thing that is missing at the moment? I don't know. Mark is very strong on this bike at the moment. Dani struggled a little bit. Of course, he hasn't been an easy situation after the crash in Argentina with the injury. Actually, he did a very good job in Austin with this tough race. But what he is missing at the moment is we'll see. This track suits him, suits his riding style very good, and I think that he can make a good job this weekend.
And what about you personally, Stefan? I mean, you're only 28. I can't believe it was 10 years ago since you won your first Grand Prix right here in Brno. It seems like a lot shorter time. I guess you've still got, at your age, 28, you've still got desires and ambitions to one day come back to MotoGP and race full time.
Yes, of course. I mean, it's no doubt that I want to be back. But to be honest, I also enjoy riding this bike at the moment because it's a very good bike, a very competitive one. And unfortunately, you know, for next season, all seats are gone basically, and there is no. We'll see what I can do this weekend. You know, some things can change very fast in this paddock, so we'll see. But of course, you're right. I mean, if there is a chance, I would take it.
Well, boys, let's have a chat about what we can expect to see in this second half of the season. Marc Marquez has 46 points over the number 46. He won 5 out of the opening 9 races. He is absolutely a force to be reckoned with. But in terms of this race here in Brno, him/Honda got their tactics bang on the money. Can we see anybody else walking away with the win here other than Marc?
I think it's going to be a close race this week, and I think Suzuki. That's not really sticking my neck on the line here, but I think, you know, Honda, Yamaha, Ducati and Suzuki will probably be quite closely matched around this circuit. The Ducati will probably be strong, so in that fourth sector, you know, coming up Horsepower Hill, the Ducati accelerates so well. We know it's got good top speed, that it's so strong in the engine, but Honda were here, you know, 1 month ago, and I think Marc was running some very strong, impressive lap times. So nothing scares Marc, does it? You know, he's in such control of himself and his motorcycle right now. That advantage he's got in the championship. There are still 10 races to go. It's 46 points, but for me, I think it's going to be so difficult for people, not only to catch him, but to beat him. You know, it's almost 2 race wins, 50 points clear. So I think it's going to take an exceptional effort from somebody to beat him this year.
Stefan, that race last year came down to a flag to flag, and we see consistently Honda just seem to have their finger on the money when it comes to this flag-to-flag type scenario. What do you think that they do better than the other teams?
What they do better, I cannot really say. I just can say that they are really good prepared in all kind of weather circumstances, whatever, and they try to practice it. You know, that's what they do. They try to be ready for each scenario, and that's why also we can say that Marc became much more clever in terms of managing the race, like from start to finish. He can manage the tire life much better than he did in the past, where he was crashing some more times. So also he did a big step in that kind of situation, and that's make his life a little bit easier during the race, because he's not attacking every single corner. He's waiting sometimes, and just managing it better.
How stressful is that type of situation as a rider when you're out there and you suddenly go, oh, I need to come in and change the tyre? Like, you've got to choose when the right moment to come in. There doesn't seem to be, well...
It's very easy to make a mistake.
Yeah.
It's very easy to come in too early, to come in too late. So, he just took some risk, of course. You have to take some risk, and then it pays off. So last year, I remember that Jonas Folger did also a very good move. He came in the same...
His bike wasn't ready though, was it?
But unfortunately, the guys were not ready with his second bike. So, he took the risk, but he didn't get payoff for it. So... But anyway, always this kind of circumstances, very difficult to get the right moment.
Throws absolutely everything up in the air. Matt, I'm going to come to you now about Yamaha, 2nd and 3rd in the championship, and they've held those positions pretty firmly for the last few races. Valentino, as we know, I heard apparently that everybody walks away from him in the Yamaha now because they know what they're going to ask him in terms of when are we getting these electronics upgrade then. But supposedly they are getting some parts here this weekend.
Well, they need them, don't they? I mean, the Brno test traditionally for a number of years has been a critical phase of the season because it gives the manufacturers the chance to analyse all the data from the first half of the year and then bring something they hope will improve the bikes for the second half of the season. So I'm sure the Valentino and the Maverick, if they haven't got something on the bike for tomorrow, when they wake up on Monday morning, Yamaha better have something on those M1s, because they are getting frustrated, no doubt about it. Germany actually was quite a positive weekend for Rossi and Vinales. It was the first time the two factory Yamahas have been on the podium together since Phillip Island last year. And strange to say this as well, Yamaha, they're the only factory of the season that have had a bike, one bike, on the podium in every single Grand Prix.
Really?
So it hasn't been a complete disaster for them. They're just not winning. That's the point you've got to make. You know, they're in their worst losing streak now for 16 years. 2002 was the last time they went this long without to win. They're close, but close in MotoGP now, and the level is so high, it is not good enough. When you're trying to beat a factory like Honda, who've got a top class rider like Mark on board, you've got to be bringing your 100% A game to every single session, every single practice. Otherwise, you are not going to win, and that's where Yamaha are at right now. They've got good riders on a good bike, but it's just not enough.
Stefan, what's your view on the whole Yamaha thing? Would you say that bike's a little bit better than it was? The situation at least looks as though it's not happening at every single circuit. It looks as though they've still got some issues in one Grand Prix, but then another weekend things look manageable.
Well, Matt explained it basically on point. I mean, they are good, but just they're missing a little bit for the win. It's a very competitive bike, but I don't know, and I didn't see any big moves or any big changes they made from last season to the actual M1. So, I mean, Valentino is pushing hard to get some new parts, to push the guys that they're working on the electronics, which is an important point, as we could see also in Honda. They improved quite well with the electronics, and there is just a little things, and the MotoGP level is very, very high now, so every little detail counts.
We've spoken a little bit already about Jorge Lorenzo, but the man on the other side of the box, Andrea Dovizioso, that we all pitched as being Marc Marquez's main title contender. This first part of the season has just not felt like an Andrea Dovizioso season. He's made some really uncharacteristic mistakes.
I mean, he was probably expecting also a bit more after the win in the first round in Qatar. So
that was his last win as well.
Yeah, so then probably, I don't know what happened there. So he was a bit, he was on a very, very good season last year, and then coming in with the first victory in Qatar. Well, it's missing a little bit, you know. Also, that then Jorge is coming stronger for sure. The atmosphere in the team is getting a little, you know, just a bit more tight, and it's not going so easy. Just small things. One thing from Dovizioso I like a lot, because always he's very quiet, very calm. You don't see him doing crazy things on tracks, but suddenly he's there, and on Sunday when it counts, most of the time he's very consistent, except these few mistakes he did so far this season.
Andrea Dovizioso last year, though, really kicked on in the second part. The wins basically went between him and Marc. Yeah,
I mean, the second half of last year, Andrea was awesome, wasn't he? He took so much confidence from the Red Bull Ring, which we go to in a week's time. That fantastic victory, that last corner battle with Marc Marquez. I mean, you don't see many guys beat Marc or rough Marc up in a last lap battle, and Andrea did that. You can see that really lifted his confidence. I think this year, Andrea just does not have... certainly at the end of the race, he's talked about this quite a lot. You know, last year, Stefan mentioned it earlier on, that's what Honda took a big step for this year. Ducati was always very, very strong in those crucial last 5 or 6 laps when the tyre was worn. They could manage their pace a little bit better than everybody else. This year, Andrea's mentioned it in more than a couple of races where he doesn't feel like he's got that durability, certainly from the rear tyre. He just struggled a little bit in those last few laps. So if Ducati can get that sorted out, he's going to be right there in the mix. But it's strange to say, isn't it? He's had one podium since that first great win in Qatar. Not the kind of Andrea Dovizioso form we've become accustomed to.
Unfortunately, we are running out of time. But Stefan, just a couple of words on KTM. Let's talk about KTM. In terms of where, like, their distance from the race winner, that seems to have proved. But I don't think the results were what they were wanting or expecting, except Bradley Smith, last time out, matched their best result from Mika Kallio this season with a 10th. What do you think that needs to happen there?
Well, I think they're working in the right direction, and the last year when they came to MotoGP, I mean, they did a really, really good job, and to beat this will be already difficult. We knew from the beginning of the season, and basically now they are coming more closer to the winner, which is good, because we all know that the level of MotoGP became higher again. And so now, you know, in terms of positions, they have to fight, and in that case, it's not easy, but the time will come. They will improve because they're doing a great job, I think, and we'll see what happens this weekend.
Well, Stefan, all the best for you this weekend. Thanks so much for sparing us some minutes to come and have a chat with myself and Matt. But that is all from us three here. We're ready to hand over to our press conference now, led by Steve Day.